Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Integrative Approaches in Healthier Living with Tami Tomlinson and Coach Chris Bush. Hope you guys are doing well this week. Hi, Chris. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling the food sensitivity issue a little bit, so I'm like sporting a headache for the past 2 days, but
Yeah.
powering through it, just trying to like clean up the diet a little bit and yeah, just keep moving forward with it. So
Yeah.
it's all good
You
though.
have any culprits that you're thinking right now? Anything that you're thinking might be causing the issue?
Too much backsliding with the whole yeast sensitivity aspect of
Right, right,
foods. I feel
right.
like maybe I've picked up too many fruits in the past
Got
few
it.
days because I've been adding a lot of fruit to my diet.
Got
So
it.
either the yeast in
Got
the
it.
fruit or too much sugars from the fruit. So
Right.
I'm not sure, but I need to just take a step back for a day. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of life and it's part of the process and the journey to
Right.
maintain a healthy diet and a balanced healthy diet for that which works for me, as I'm sure
Right. Right.
many other people experience as well and try to figure
Right.
out and navigate and understand.
Correct. Yeah, I'm sure you'll figure it out. I mean, this isn't our first rodeo. Usually it's kind of the same thing, like where you're having to take a step back, look at your eating for a couple of days, check out your tracker, just kind of like what we talked about in the previous video. But yeah, that's probably about right. So on that topic, definitely let me know in a couple of days how you're feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Well, today,
go ahead.
oh,
No,
go
you
ahead.
go. You go
Ah,
ahead.
okay, okay, okay. So, so I have a joke for you.
Okay.
So, what do they call a bee when it leaves the nest?
Be gone.
No, a believer.
Okay, but he's gone too.
And I think that's a stretch on that one, Tammy.
Okay, okay. Well, I'll take believer. I'll take a believer.
Well, I know we were thinking about like we're gonna talk a little bit more about intention this week. That seems like it's been coming up in a lot of our conversations, both, our conversations coaching and some of your conversations with your own clients and people you're working with. But you know, one thing I've been thinking about this week is there really can't be any intentionality without the belief in oneself to actually set like those goals and set that intention.
Mhm.
And I know we kind of just talked about this a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to tell Tammy about this today. I'm going to throw her a little bit of a curveball, and so we get like a little bit more of a, just a real, feel for like the people that are watching and our dynamic and our relationship. But
And you know what? We're sometimes so in line with one another because in case the viewers haven't noticed, we kind of both dressed similarly today. Um,
yeah, yeah, I
we
saw that.
apparently both got the memo, so we're on the same path in that regard.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
likewise, to your intentions conversation, I also was having a thought in my head on something that I wanted to have you discuss without throwing too much towards you to give you too much time to think about it.
Right.
So it's kind of
Cool.
funny, but all right. So
Yeah.
carry on with
What
the
was
intentions.
what was yours really quick, and then we can get into mine. So let's hear what's your thoughts on whatever
Well,
you
I
got
wanted I
in
wanted
your
to
head.
learn a little bit more about who Chris is, and
Uh-huh.
and it's gonna actually it kind of folds into the intentions and why
Right.
to go even a step further.
Right. Right. Right.
But
Right.
what brought you to doing what you do, coaching people, helping
Right.
people, and
Right.
more importantly, oh, fiddlesticks, I lost the word that I had in my head. So, but along those lines, how did you get to where you are? I remember how and explain to the viewers how you work with clients. What is it that you do specifically for people, with people, to help
Right,
guide, coach, train,
right.
all of the things. So that
All
that's
the
kind of
things.
where I was going to go today with
All right.
you. But I think it's all encompassing, right? So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's a big core part of like what I do, like how I work with people. And this actually is going to spill right into like what I was thinking about, like talking about today in regards to like belief and intentionality. But a big part of at least my philosophy on coaching is helping people approach their own progress, their own goal setting with self-discovery to a certain extent. Now, when I say self-discovery, what I'm talking about is that each person that I tend to coach and work with and meet on a daily basis tends to be successful and very successful in one area of their life, at least. Usually, most people, it's like several areas of their life. But what I try to get people to see is that the same tools that have helped them become successful in these other areas of their life, they can adapt and make those connections to in this existing area that they're wanting to change. And so for me personally, like this is like my basis point and kind of what I wrap my philosophy and coaching around. As far as how I work with people in regards to that, now, of course, like people went to school for, in certain cases, to become successful in these areas for like several years. And so, on one side, I will work with them to help them find the resources or deliver certain resources to them. But I try to, work with them specifically like on making their own goals and just helping them kind of discover these areas of their life where they have been successful and kind of questioning them to help them kind of discover that on their own. Does that make sense?
it does. And my only question or thought was, you say other areas. Can you give me an example of what an other area would be versus an area
Yeah,
that somebody
absolutely.
might be in now?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, say if I have a client that's coming to me and they're, just say simply trying to improve their cardiovascular health, so they don't really know a whole lot about that yet. They maybe did some sports in high school, but they really didn't ever make the connection to their health. It was more about just, performance for them then. Um, but this person nowadays is, either successful in their company, they've moved up in their company, they've went back to school, and they've been able to surmount those challenges like within school to like maybe graduate with an MBA. Um, Getting them to see like this say mainly like that, setting goals, not backing down from challenges, um, really pursuing like something, despite like maybe the adversity that they may come up against and the ability to persevere, sorry, I can't talk today, are really the tools that they need to be successful here, and kind of like outline, these are the things that, they that help them be successful in this area over here, say business. These tools we can also utilize and help them see how they fit into this area of their life, and so they can be successful here, and helping them to discover like their why and their what, and like why is something really important to them, like, and then what steps are they doing about this, like what steps are they taking in regards to this. Um, and then that comes down to, now we're talking about like intentionality, like, what steps are you taking, like, and then, starting your day with that level of intention and being like, okay, like I'm at the start of my day, I have 2 hours before work starts, like what do I want to accomplish with my life, not just, I'm not just going to work, these are the things I want to accomplish with work. What is it that I want to do? What matters to me? And what am I trying to get out of this day? Kind of writing a couple of those things down, and then maybe keeping a journal, like I'm a big fan of journaling, and keeping a journal and keeping like your goals written down, the things that are important to you written down, the things that you're intentionally trying to change. And so largely when I work with people, we're really on the belief thing. Self, what we call in coaching, it's called self-efficacy, is what we call it, and that is the belief in oneself to accomplish a certain task. That's how we define self-efficacy. And so when people start to see that the skills that they need to make this change, like here and now, in regards to this other goal that they're setting in their life, like trying to change their health, they've already utilized these skills in other areas and they see how they've changed like certain things, and they've been able to surmount other challenges in other areas of their life. And typically, that kind of starts to spill over into like the area of their health. And then on top of it, just like they have a teacher that they or a professor or some sort of like maybe role model that they worked with whenever they were, say, going to school for their MBA. And that's also a part where the coach, myself, fulfills as well, where you have somebody that is a resource, has experience in this area, somebody that they can rely on and trust to work with them and walk with them on this journey. And so I hope that answers your question,
It
Tami.
does, it does. It's fascinating to hear you share this. But I'd like to circle back around for a quick second to
Sure.
tools. Like you've referenced
Tools.
tools. I know you mentioned journaling. I know we've talked about, food logs and things like that. But
Correct.
what would be, one or two other types of tools that you would suggest or mention or, think about with a potential client if you were working with them? What are some of the tools you would use?
Honestly speaking, with most clients, it really changes depending on, the person's background, where they're coming from, education level, all of these things. A big one sometimes, surprisingly, is, their spiritual aptitude and like, in that area. Generally speaking, getting a male that has never journaled before in their life, that is maybe, coming in, doesn't matter whether they're white collar, blue collar, like well educated or not, is usually not the easiest thing to do.
Mhm.
Women, it's typically generally much easier. And so like, if I can just get that person, as opposed to journaling, to sit down and just like take a notepad and just jot down really
Or
quickly. I
even
don't say
even open
journaling.
up. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about keeping a food log, and
Yeah,
she's getting ready to travel for a week, and she's been handwriting, pen to paper, which I'm all
right,
for. I love that. But she's
right,
like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this when I travel. And I'm like,
correct.
of course you can. You have your
Yeah.
phone. So just start creating an email to
Yes,
yourself
yes,
and
yep,
keeping track of everything in the email. Save it in
right,
your drafts folder. You can
right,
continue to open it and add to it. And then you're not
right,
sending yourself a bunch of emails every single day to have to sift and sort through.
right,
So, yeah,
right.
for those that maybe are a little bit younger that aren't as enamored
Mm-hmm,
with a piece of paper and a pen as I
right.
know I personally am, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
phone or, just a notepad and or even a text message to yourself would work too.
Yep, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. A lot of times, I I won't necessarily like say journaling. I'll just, I'll ask, the person, how they can keep track of something. Let them answer the question, let them define what it is. Like a lot of the times, as opposed, now I'm saying journaling, as you and I are talking, but
Mhm.
usually I never phrase it that way with people. I just will say like, hey, do you have a notebook that you can write your goals down in?
Right.
Can you write in notes on your phone? Like, and yeah, it's journaling, right? Like
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
questions I'm going to have them ask themselves, the things that I'm going to get them to go through, like. But then we're talking about like a whole nother thing, like in psychology, in dealing with cognitive distortions and how people feel around certain words and how they define those words.
Right.
And so it's when we say tools, like it's really on a client by client basis, and just kind of seeing where they're at and really focusing more so, like I would say almost the actions as being the tools, like what ways can we get these people to, or the people that are working with us, to take action, and the actions, the small steps that they're taking daily, kind of being the tools, and like, maybe like, utilizing the other smaller tools that are going to help them enable that next thing. um, we have a certain terminology for that in the field. It's cues to action. So setting up cues to action, so the notebook, is a cue to action. Well, the tool that we're specifically using to get this person to move forward, we can call it journaling. We're just, in this case, we're just gonna get them to take action on taking notes or ask themselves questions about their day.
Right, right. Well, that's fantastic. So thank you for sharing that and helping our listeners better understand that which you do. And maybe in another video down the road, we're going to get into how you ended up here where you are today. And I'd like to go back into the intentions part of this conversation that you threw out towards me earlier. So there you
Yeah.
go. Take it from here.
Yeah, Tammy. So I think today, like, we've actually covered quite a bit for the viewers, and maybe next time we'll have to pick back up on that intentions thing. We can dive into that a little bit more. But I think today was like really informative. It didn't, work out the way we had planned, but I think it turned out really good,
Right,
in
right.
regards to, talking about belief and self-efficacy and kind of intention. And maybe just talking about some of the tools that we use, with people, like as far as to get them to take those steps forward. But I would challenge you guys, the viewers, to just look at the areas in your life that you have seen that you are successful in, and maybe ask yourself the questions like, how could these same skill sets that have brought me to this point in whatever area it is that you're successful in serve me now in this area that I am trying to approach in my life? So that's my challenge for you guys. Anyways, Tammy, I'm taking it back to you.
Thank you so much. And if you're feeling called to, let us know in the comments, some of the tools that you're using that are working for you, or if you have questions about things that you're working on, let us know. We're here to help you, and we'll be more than happy to answer the questions either via the comments on the next call, the next video for you. In the meantime, thanks so much for tuning in again today. Peace out. Love you guys. Integrative approaches and healthier living. Until next time, be well.
See you guys later. Bye.